Every knife has its purpose, but there are tasks so gritty and demanding that you wouldn't dare subject your Grail knife to it. That's where the unsung heroes of your toolkit step in. The knives that face the dirtiest jobs without flinching. This is my defense of cheap knives and why you want some in your arsenal. I picked up this set of Gerber knives from Sam's Club for $20. I wanted to talk about where cheap knives fit in your EDC and why you might want to add some to yours. It's a good idea to have an inexpensive knife when you're doing a lot of abrasive cutting, say breaking down boxes, or you have to cut a bunch of materials. Having a less expensive knife that's easy to sharpen is always a good idea. When you're learning to sharpen a knife, that's a great place to use an inexpensive knife. That way you don't mess up one of your expensive knives. If you're in a high-risk area where there's a lot of theft or where your tools might walk away, that's a great area to use an inexpensive knife. If you're carrying the knife into an area where there may be restrictions, such as a sporting event or going to the airport, having a cheap knife makes it much easier to throw it into the trash so that you don't get in trouble carrying the knife where it shouldn't be. Inexpensive knives are also good gifts to people that may not know how to use knives, so it'll be their first knife. That way they can learn and actually learn how to take care of and maintain a knife. If you're in harsh conditions where there's a lot of mud or water or other things that could cause corrosion, having an inexpensive knife is also a good idea there. And the best area to have an inexpensive knife is as a backup blade. So if you have a blade in your glove box in your car, in your backpack, in your go bag, having a secondary blade that you can use for tasks that you wouldn't normally use your main knife for, it is great to have those. Now that you know some good uses for a cheap knife, let's look at these 3 knives I got from Sam's Club and see if they're actually worth the $6.75 they each cost. The first knife here is the Zilch, which is a clip point folding knife in 7CR steel. The knife has a plastic handle and is a liner lock. It does have a deep pocket carry clip. The action is okay. For a $6 knife, I would say that this definitely was worth the money for this one. Next is the Evo Junior. It is also in 7CR. It does have a deep pocket carry clip and it is a flipper liner lock. The detent on this is so tight, I can't even get it to flip out. I did try to take apart the pivot, but it is so tight. They must have put so much Loctite in there I couldn't loosen it up. So I couldn't recommend this knife just because of how hard it is to open, close, and to handle. The last knife is the Paraframe. It is a frame lock. It has a pocket clip, but it's not a deep pocket carry. It doesn't say what steel type it is in, but I would say it definitely is at least worth the $6 and change that it cost. So let's do some quick sharpness tests to see how sharp they come out of the box. It's sharp, but not what I would say is super sharp. The Evo Junior, I'd say is a little bit sharper. And the Zilch. So for $20, I would say it is a pretty good deal. Definitely 2 of the knives would be very usable, especially if I were to put them in my car or in my bag. The Evo Junior, I'm a bit disappointed as it definitely has some quality issues, but if I can get the pivot to come apart and I could rebend the frame lock, I think I could get the detent to be much better, but until I can get it apart, I couldn't recommend the Evo Junior. If you're looking for an affordable and high quality knife, please watch this video here to see my initial impressions of Civivi knives.